The subcommittee will come to order. I am very pleased to welcome everyone here today for the Subcommittee on Emerging Threats and Capabilities markup for the fiscal year 2019 National Defense Authorization Act. I would like to begin by thanking all of the members of the subcommittee for their contributions and enthusiastic participation in the hearings, briefings, and congressional delegations that we have held during the past several months. We have taken a deliberate look at some very significant issues within the subcommittee's purview, and we have done so in a united and bipartisan manner. I want to thank each of my colleagues on the subcommittee for their hard work and support. The Emerging Threats and Capabilities Subcommittee mark this year focuses on ensuring our technological superiority by providing the policies and programs that will energize our science and technology enterprise, infuse the department with a culture of innovation, strengthen our cyber warfare capabilities, safeguard our critical infrastructure, provide support for our special operations forces at home and abroad, provide resources and authorities to counter terrorism, and review in advance our preparedness to counter weapons of mass destruction. I'm especially proud of what the subcommittee has been able to achieve this year in reviewing and understanding adversarial threats, most notably from China and Russia, while also maintaining our focus on emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, directed energy, hypersonics, synthetic biology, and robotics. Our emphasis on science and technology carries two broad themes. First, the mark better organizes the Department of Defense to oversee, accelerate, and integrate artificial intelligence and machine learning across the defense enterprise. The mark will establish an AI Policy and Oversight Council and conduct a thorough review of the wide-ranging military applications of this decisive technology. These provisions carry many of the themes of the standalone artificial intelligence legislation, H.R. 5356, that would establish a National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence, a bill introduced by myself and co-sponsored by Ranking Member Langevin and several members of the subcommittee. Second, the mark builds upon previous NDAAs and advances prototyping and testing of directed energy weapons and hypersonic vehicles and accelerates the operational employment of these technologies. These steps will ensure our competitive advantage against near-peer and peer adversaries and maintain our superiority in these fields. In addition to the science and technology provisions, the mark strengthens our whole-of-government cybersecurity posture by establishing a pilot program that allows for improved coordination between the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to prevent and respond to cyber attacks against our critical infrastructure. The mark also reinforces international partnerships in cyber warfare to counter aggressive adversaries such as Russia, China, and North Korea. This includes support for our NATO partners to enhance partnered cyber capabilities and information sharing. The mark also recommends fully resourcing U.S. Cyber Command and service cyber programs and activities, and tightening the Department of Defense requirement to notify Congress in the event of cyber intrusions that expose the personal information of our service members. The mark before our members today also authorizes U.S. Special Operations Command's programs and activities, including ongoing efforts in Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen, Somalia, and Eastern Europe. We extend authority for critical personnel recovery programs and strengthen congressional oversight of ongoing counterterrorism and sensitive activities. The mark will also streamline the department's oversight of countering weapons of mass destruction by creating a single principal advisor to the Secretary of Defense for these activities. To build upon the success of family support and mental and behavioral health programs within U.S. Special Operations Command, which this subcommittee has championed in previous years, we are encouraging the Department of Defense to examine how the most successful elements of this program can be scaled to the broader force to ensure our service members and their families are receiving the best care possible. We're also directing the Secretary to review professionalism and ethics programs across the Special Operations Forces to better understand any impact from the very high op tempo after nearly 17 years of war. We recognize much of this burden has been carried by our soft warriors. Before moving along, I want to thank the Ranking Member, Congressman Jim Langevin of Rhode Island. Jim, it's been a true honor to work with you in such a bipartisan fashion, and I look forward to continuing these efforts together as we move towards full committee. I also want to take this moment to thank the committee staff who have worked so hard on this mark with each of our offices, including staff lead Peter Villano, professional staff members Eric Snellgrove, Katie Sutton, Sutton, Lindsay Kavanaugh, and Jamie Jackson, our clerk, Nevada Shadler, and our fellow, Dr. Mark Peppel. Thank you so much for all of your hard work leading up to this subcommittee mark. The chair will now recognize Mr. Langevin, the ranking member on the subcommittee, for any opening comments he would like to make.
Thank you, Chairwoman Stefanik. Let me say from the outset, it's been a pleasure working with you once again on the fiscal year 2019 National Defense Authorization Act. I certainly appreciate your bipartisanship, and I'm proud of the mark that's presented here today. I, too, want to also thank my fellow colleagues on the committee for their hard work on throughout the subcommittee throughout the year and helping us to get to this point. Most especially, I want to recognize and thank all of the staff that you listed in your opening remarks and commend them for their due diligence and their hard work on this mark. There's a lot to be proud of here today. The mark before us reflects the focus of the Emerging Threats and Capability Subcommittee over the course of the last year and supports the National Defense Strategy. It includes provisions to strengthen cyber operations and security, enhance innovation, improve oversight, provide for special operations forces, and increase unity of effort and preparedness for countering weapons of mass destruction. The mark also builds upon previous initiatives. For example, it includes a requirement for the Department of Defense to provide Congress with a budget display document for major weapons system cyber vulnerability assessments and ongoing mitigation efforts resulting from an FY16 NDAA mandate. It also modifies the existing mandate for critical infrastructure cyber vulnerability and mitigation assessments by authorizing successful programs such as Hack the Pentagon to be part of this ongoing effort. The bill improves coordination and response for defense support to civil authorities for cyber incidents by authorizing U.S. Cyber Command to provide technical expertise to the Department of Homeland Security. The bill also requires the Secretaries of the Department of Defense and Homeland Security to study the feasibility, advisability, and necessity of establishing cyber civil support teams in all 50 states and U.S. territories. I'm especially pleased with the mark's focus on science, technology, and innovation. We know China is challenging our technological advantage, and if the United States is to remain at the forefront, we cannot just play defense. We must invest in and promote policies for advancing game-changing emerging technologies for our warfighters, such as hypersonics, directed energy, and artificial intelligence. Additionally, we must further our efforts to nurture a culture of innovation throughout DoD. In both ETC and full committee hearings, we've heard about the necessity to scale innovation. To that end, the mark requires a plan for leveraging and institutionalizing best practices and lessons learned from the Strategic Capabilities Office. The mark also enhances DIUX's partnership with science, technology, and re-engineering laboratories to enrich and revive DoD's innovation ecosystem. Finally, rigorous oversight of sensitive military operations remains one of ETC's primary functions. A provision of the mark modifies existing statute to make certain that such operations continue to be properly notified to Congress. In closing, once again, I want to thank and congratulate you, Chairwoman Stefanik, and all the members of the committee, and particularly the staff for the hard work on this mark. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
We will now proceed to mark up H.R. 5515, the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2019. Without objection, the first reading of the bill is dispensed with. Copies of our subcommittee mark and directive report language were made available and distributed to member offices on Tuesday, April 24th. Is there any discussion or questions on the subcommittee mark? If there is no further discussion, the chair lays before the members the text of the subcommittee mark for consideration. Without objection, the mark is open to amendment at any point. Are there any amendments to the subcommittee mark? The question now occurs on the adoption of the mark. So many as in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the mark is adopted. The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Wyoming, Ms. Cheney, for the purpose of a motion.
Madam Chairwoman, I move that the subcommittee report the mark favorably to the full committee.
The question is on the motion of the gentlewoman from Wyoming, Ms. Cheney. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. A quorum being present, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. And without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Without objection, members have 5 legislative days within which to submit written statements into the record. So ordered. I also ask unanimous consent that staff be authorized to make necessary conforming technical and clerical changes and to remove from the mark provisions that would cause the mark to refer to other committees or would result in additional direct spending or would result in an earmark. Without objection, so ordered. There being no further legislative business before the subcommittee, this meeting is adjourned.